curse words and sarcasm were used in the making of this video. Hello, Jaime from Salty Card Creations, coming back at you with another Snarky make. I'm bringing in ink road stamps, Snarky Househusbands today. This is a new stamp set, or a newer one I haven't used yet. So I did not condition my stamp here, and I tried getting it to stamp well, and it just didn't stamp the greatest. So I should have probably conditioned it, or at least cleaned it first before I tried. It didn't work, so I just brought in the VersaFine Onyx black ink. I stamped it over with that one. I mean, he already looked like he had a black eye, so whatever. And then I heat set that with some clear embossing powder. Now, I also stamped the sentiment right away underneath it, because I didn't want to go all willy-nilly with my alcohol markers and then cover up that bottom part, so I kind of wanted it there and where I needed it. Don't worry, I smudge it later because I didn't actually heat set it or wait for it to dry before I started coloring. Yeah, it is what it is. So I did bring in my Ohuhu bullet nib markers, and I'm using the neutral grays. I started with, I think it was neutral gray number 9 possibly, and then 7 and 6, and then I brought in a lighter tone later on to kind of do the lapels on his suit there. I kept the coloring fairly simple. I tried to do some of the shadowing, maybe where the folds would have been. I might have also been on Crafty Chat with Kate, and we might have been smack talking, and whenever I stopped, I was probably talking smack. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I'm bringing in some purples here to finish up the tie. I did a light blue shirt, and you know, I kind of kept it super simple just for color purposes, 1 or 2 with going over it in a second level of alcohol ink color, so you get it's a deeper tone, but it's the same. I don't know. If you know, you know. That's what I got for you today. I'm also bringing in a skin tone color to do the face on this one. And yes, I only use 1 marker, and I just do a second layer wherever I want that shadow to be a little bit deeper. Now, for the color of the beard, it's, you know, it was the most important color to figure out. I didn't have one that I just was in love with for, I don't even like beer, to be honest. Well, well, I guess if you call it apple beer, but that's really hard cider, so yeah, I don't like beer. So I pulled in some of the colors that I thought. I think I did 134 possibly there, and then I think either 35 or 49 or 37, something along that line to give me a beard tone. Now, for the foam, I did pull in some Hero Arts Puff embossing powder and my VersaMark marker here, so it just kind of gives it didn't even cover it very good. It just sporadically placed those little dots of powder, and when it puffed, it turned out beautifully. It gave it a lot of depth and texture, and I liked it. Now, of course, I did smudge up the let me check my give-a-shit meter. Nope, nothing. So to fix that, because, you know, let's be real, I'm just going to fix it. I'm not actually going to start over. I brought in the VersaFine Onyx, the VersaMark ink again, restamped it because my stamp was still in my stamp positioner, and then I heat set a purple toned embossing powder over the top, dusted that off, and then to cover up any of the black ink smudges, I'm coming in with my blue blending brush there. It didn't have enough leftover ink on it, so I'm bringing in the Smoky Sky, kind of just tapping it off on the corner. I knew I was going to cut this down, so it was just faster to do it on the corner there and not worry too much. But this way I could cover up the little black ink smudge that I got in the, let me check my give-a-shit meter out. Nope, nothing. So once I had that where I was wanting it, I needed to figure out my layout. So I've been keeping these fairly simple for layout and such, at least compared to my normal style of card making. So I cut it down to an A2 size panel. Well, it wasn't really an A2 size panel. I cut it down so it was 4 1/4 inches wide. And then I brought in my other pieces here. And then I'm just going to cut them down to size once I get this all onto the front. It's not how I normally do things. Sometimes it's good to switch it up. I was in need of a break. So I am going to bring in some double-sided foam adhesive sheet here to kind of help hold it flat because of all that embossing powder on there and the multiple times that I actually ended up heating it. It's a little bit warped. So to get it to stick down the best, I just bring in this adhesive foam sheet. I get this from Amazon. I haven't bought it in a while. I want to say they're like a little bit bigger than a half sheet of paper. It's an odd size. That's all I have to say. But they're fairly cheap, so it works. Otherwise, foam adhesive sheets like the Fun Foam, and then you just put adhesive on the opposite side as well, like score tape, would work as well. And it's fairly cheap to do it that way too. Now, it needed something, and so I thought about bringing in some confetti style embellishments. I didn't like the shine on them, so I did end up bringing in my Nuvo crystal drops or clear drops. No, crystal drops? I don't know, my Nuvo drops. But before that, I needed to put my inside sentiment in, so I didn't have to wait for it to dry. I drink to make other people more interesting. And of course, I ink smudged the inside too. That sand eraser does come in handy, and it does sometimes get the little goofs out of, the way. Now, I struggle when I add the Nuvo drops on here because I should have probably cleaned out my tip before I started with the first one, so there must have been like a harder piece on that one, and so it didn't get a nice full circle. And then of course I try to fix it and it doesn't work, and then I try to fix it again and it doesn't work, and then I end up adding more drops because I felt like it was lopsided. But with the Nuvo drops, if you put them on there and make sure it's working good first, if you put them on there, you can get a rounded dome, and then you whack it really hard on your tabletop. It like settles it out, so it gives that nice, it's not quite as a raised dot. I don't know how to explain it. I just know you thwack it really good and then it kind of levels out. Except for that one, because I'm pretty sure my tip was, I haven't used it in forever, so my tip was probably dry. It's called not doing what I'm supposed to do. Do what I tell you you're supposed to do, not what I actually do, because I'm hot garbage at actually doing what I'm supposed to do to make things work right the first time. I like to take extra time to fix all of my errors. Anyways, that is my completed card for today. I hope you enjoyed this one. Have an amazing rest of your day. Happy